Managing clients in the digital marketing agency can be wild and confusing. There's highs and lows, and this is literally what we do every day, all day. So in this episode, we're going to dig in and tell you everything we know about the role of a client account manager, or CAM as we call it, and how we see this role working in all types of agencies.
From e-commerce, high-touch management to scalable lead generation businesses to creative services, if you want to learn what a CAM would or should look like in your agency, you're in the right spot. Welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast. Let's get started.
Okay, so I'm so excited about today's episode, and I really want to tell our listeners the truth, Katie, like honestly, what the truth is about what we see this CAM role looking like in agencies, because we see so many variations.
We've literally been talking about doing this podcast forever, and I'm just so happy that we've started it and we're sharing what we know and all of the great CAM secrets. I'm just so excited to be here. So This is our first podcast episode. It's going to dive into all the CAM life, everything that we do, and what it's all about. So I mean, to get started is one thing, but we're just happy to share all of the good CAM life secrets.
Yeah. And I feel like we've been talking about this for so long, but I haven't really felt ready to do this. Like, we've just been taking all these learnings and like putting them in our, filing system. And now that we've been through so many things, I feel like now is the best time for us to share that with the world. So I'm so excited. But maybe we should introduce ourselves because we're new here. So let's fill everyone in on how we got started as client account managers, how Dot & Company was born, and where we're at today. So Katie, you want to get started?
Yeah. Totally. So it's funny how life works, right? Like where I was, what I started when I was 17 and where we are today. But this is the sweet spot for sure. Like CAM life is for me, it's what I've been, maybe I didn't know it at a ripe age of 17 when I started kind of university and all that stuff, but it's so fulfilling right now. So, I mean, right now and for a long time, like it's such a great job and to be working with Taylor. So a little bit of background about me is from the start, I grew up in New Brunswick, Canada. I left home at 17, went to university, and I got an English and International Development Studies degree, which is, kind of a strange degree. But I did get a lot of skills. I had fun at university. I, didn't really know what to do. So I started traveling. I taught English abroad, and I came back to Canada a couple years later and started PR school. And I think that's really where I got my passion for marketing and client communication, and definitely the public relations piece of it all. So I went to PR school, and I hate to say this, but it was a time before TikTok, even Instagram. Advertising on Facebook was just like new. It's not really something we learned about. So this digital marketing world was just emerging. Not that I'm an ancient dinosaur, but it was before that time. So I guess it didn't really get the taste of it until a couple years later when I actually met Taylor. So I did my PR school. I went straight into not-for-profit, which is a great experience, a great learning curve. And then I got married, I had some kids, and my life changed. I really wanted to be this really awesome role model for my children, where my entrepreneurial spirit shined through. I was a business lady. I was showing people how to, by people, I mean my small children. I was showing my kids how to really lead a team and be what you're always ready to be. So after fundraising, I decided to switch jobs. I got into this job that it wasn't a perfect fit for me, but the good part is that I actually met Taylor. So when we met, we were buds first. I felt like there was this underlining sort of I know you hate your job. We're going to find you a new job. And then, so after that kind of terrible experience, I got into digital marketing. Taylor helped me get on board with a really great agency. I learned a lot there. Then Taylor was about to kick off client account management with Dot & Co. And here I was ready to take it on with you. So that's a little bit about me. I'm so grateful that we crossed paths and got to Dot & Company, and we're doing something really special. So here we are, our podcast, and that is a little bit about co-host number one, Katie Fairweather.
I love it. Yeah, it's actually wild. Like, a lot of people will ask me, how did you and Katie meet, and how did you start this company? And what's the whole backstory? And I'm like, it's actually one of those things where it's like, it just happened for all the right reasons. And I'll kind of tell you about my path. But yeah, it's just wild. And I'm so happy that we met each other. But
Yeah. And I
yeah,
guess why I touch on all those different parts is that like my background is so varied. Like I taught small children, I did the not-for-profit hustle, I did PR school where I learned a lot of marketing bases, but those basics take you on to like where you can evolve. So yeah, here we are. When we met, it was, yeah, it's not like I had this great digital marketing background and you wanted to work with me. It was very awesome to like connect on that level because our experiences really did I guess collide in a really great way.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy. So
So yeah, maybe Taylor, you just go ahead and tell everybody how we got here.
yeah. So I'll give you my background. Mine's a little bit crazy as well. So I went to university, studied marketing. I actually was originally going to university to become a teacher. I think I told you that, Katie, like up until the summer going into school. And then I was sitting in the living room and my father-in-law, my now father-in-law, said to me, I don't know what we were talking about, something about marketing. And he's like, why don't you go into marketing? Like, what are you doing? And I was like, yeah, you're right. So I called the school and I changed degrees and then I went into business and I loved it. Like I was like that girl in class. I just loved everything about marketing. So
But you need to tell everybody how you grew up and how like you've been the marketer and the entrepreneur since
yeah.
infancy, really.
This is not my first business. I've literally had like a million businesses. Every time we had a family dinner, everyone got a check. So they had to pay for their meal. I had a cash register that I made my mom buy me. I would have lemonade stands, but I didn't just do the lemonade stand. I upsold everyone on brownies and cookies. And I made my mom drive me to actually, it was probably her idea, but she drove me up to where all the traffic came. So I made $50 from a lemonade stand. Who does that? Off my all my parents' ingredients. I had a dog walking business. I used to make cards. I don't know, I had a million different businesses, but I think I always knew growing up that I wanted to own a business and I had no idea what it would be, but just the path led me here. So yeah, went to university, studied marketing. I did this co-op program where we got about a year's experience before we graduated. And that kind of propelled me into my first, what I thought was a dream job, working at a liquor company here. It was amazing. I had such great mentors. It was such a great environment. I learned so much. It was like a cam role actually in that kind of part of my work. And then I left. I started working with my family's company doing marketing for a national sleep company. Shout out to Sleep Therapeutics. They're amazing. So I worked there. And then I always wanted to do my own thing. And I actually went to this conference and learned about ClickFunnels randomly. So Russell Brunson was a speaker at the 10X Growth Conference Grant Cardone put on. And I learned about ClickFunnels and I was just like so captivated. I was like, this is so cool. Like a sales funnel, like it was new to me. This was only a few years ago. So I came home, started studying everything ClickFunnels. Like I read the books, I did the webinars, I studied everything, and then somehow landed in some all like, oh, actually, I met this guy there, and he was running ads for chiropractors, and I was just like blown away. I was just so fascinated by his business. Like he was making money running ads for people. So I came home, studied all about it, and then somehow decided to start my own business. And so I did. I started running ads for people. And then I ended up leaving my family's company, still doing consulting for them because it gave me that bridge into starting my own business. And then I was running my own digital marketing agency. I was running ads, I was building funnels, landing pages, copywriting, everything like that. And I liked it, but I just didn't feel like I was in flow. And I never really knew what that like flow state really meant. But then I decided to go to this mastermind with a bunch of masterminders. We went to Fiji, which is the furthest place I think you could possibly go from Nova Scotia, Canada. But I took the 2-day trek to go to Fiji. And first of all, Fiji's amazing. But second of all, that's when I realized that I needed to do something that was more in line with what I really like to do. And that was talk to people, send emails, project manage, get creative, but not be responsible for the results on the actual ads. And I'm just not that techie of a person. I'm more like relationship focused. So I just chatted with everyone at this mastermind and they were all like, you should totally focus on account management. This is what we need. This is what so many agencies need. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So came home, pivoted my agency, started doing account management myself, worked with a number of different agencies who I still work with some of them today. And they just gave me the chance, and I proved it to them and proved it to myself that this model worked. And then, like Katie said, it was just this weird timing where I was posting a job for my first account manager. I was so nervous to hire someone, and she ended up being able to work with me. Like she,
You can say it. I was available to work with you.
yeah, that
That
day,
day.
she got let go, and I was just like, what? And I think a month prior to that, you had us over for dinner and we were talking about, I was like, I'm pivoting my business and I'm just doing account management. You were like, oh, I really want to do that. I think this would be so fun if we worked together and started this. And it just ended up working out. I don't know how, but it did. And it's been just a wild ride over the last year and a half. And we've grown this thing and figured out how to serve tons of different agencies. And we've had so many learnings, but it's been,
Yeah. And I think just when you say timing is everything and like universe is aligning or all that sort of maybe fruit words, but it's totally right because I needed that experience too, right? I needed the digital marketing experience. I needed to be in this world and be in it for a minute before we could kick this off because now I'm just so much more prepared, like yourself, to talk to these agency owners and really know their process and know their funnels and their ads and what they're trying to do. And when they spit out these little cat howl isms, I'm totally in the know, which is great. That couldn't have, so when we say, yeah, timing's everything, that couldn't have happened the year before when we first met. So
yeah.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Shout out to Cat Howell too, and the
Shout out to
DD
Cat
Pro
Howell.
family. Yeah, highly
Mhm.
recommend. Cool. So let's dig in. I know a lot of people want to know, what is a client account manager? And I want to tell our listeners from our experience being the world's only account management agency, we know a thing or two about account management. So I guess, what does your day look like as a client account manager,
Sure.
and what do you do? Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's funny, our dynamic, right? Just in terms of even like the client account managers that we have, our days definitely look a little bit different. We have some dot tasks, we have some accounts that have been with us for a long time that really are like our third, fourth, and fifth children. So our days are jam packed, but definitely when we started this thing, early on, we read Rocket Fuel and it really spoke. Well, Taylor read it and then passed it on to me, and it really spoke to us. Like, this was Taylor and Katie, right? It was basically written about us. It's been our mantra ever since. Do you remember that, Tay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, this is us to a T. I was reading this. I was like, this is what I do. I think I said this to Katie yesterday. If you
Yeah.
haven't read it, it's such a good book. If you're running any kind of agency or business,
Mhm.
I think everyone needs the visionary and the integrator to make anything happen.
Right. So obviously Taylor's the visionary and
And
I'm the
you're the integrator.
integrator. That's right. So, I mean, match made in heaven, according to Rocket Fuel, but it really was like, we're like, we got this. Like, this is the secret sauce. We're here. So, my day is, like I said, a little bit different. We have a lot of dot tasks to take on. I'm on this mega account that takes a lot of my day. But you know what? The flow of a cam day is very similar across the board. We're super organized. We are hyper efficient. We just love getting to inbox zero and replying to clients and checking things off our list, right? So my day is pretty basic. I hop on, I actually start my day after all the kids get on the bus, and here I am sitting at my computer and I have, this morning to get everything done before my meeting starts. So I sit down, I get to inbox zero. I have about 4 to 5 inboxes to check. We have different accounts, which we all have an inbox for. So I'm checking different emails and then also different project management inboxes too. So there could be tasks that come in overnight or anything like that. So what I'm doing is checking all my emails, replying, checking all my project management, replying, getting a list done of like what needs action, what I need to do right away versus maybe in half an hour or an hour. And then the second thing I do after all my inboxes are checked, I look at my calendar because I have a lot of meetings. So I make sure that meetings are in my brain. I know when they're coming. I am prepared for them, and I just sort all of those details out prior to the meeting, and then I can get in the other stuff in between, right? So I actually bookend my days with an hour of kind of like admin time where, yeah, I'm checking emails, but then at the end of the day, I'm following up on meetings as well. So it's good for me to keep that in my calendar just to make sure that I actually have time before kids start coming back to the house and things get a little nutty, that I have those sort of bookends to really efficiently start and close my day. So that's my day. I would say inbox zero, project management tools, check my calendar for meetings, and then tackle the tasks in between. There's a lot of dot things that kind of go outside normal client account management, managing a team, speaking with Emma, brainstorming with Taylor. So it's a little bit different than maybe a regular client account manager, but a lot of those tools and tasks that we accomplish every day are totally relatable. So I guess that's my day. I don't know about you. I do know about you, Taylor, but if you want to share your day and what you're doing on the regular and how client account management, I guess, fills up your 9 to 5, I'll air quote that because we all know working remotely, we're just super flexible. But yeah, how's your day, Taylor?
So my day has definitely changed over the last year and a half. So when I started at Dot and Company, I was the only account manager. So I had 3 or 4 agencies. So my day was quite structured like a traditional cam. So I get up and I work really well first thing in the morning. So I would pick one of my agencies and I would just go into Asana or whatever project management tool and I would just crush my inbox. I would just get things done, check things off, answer emails, and then follow up with things. So a lot of our job is following up with media buyers or strategists. So if we're running a funnel for e-commerce and we have a sale coming up, I need to make sure that Bob, the media buyer, remembers to put these ads live and ensure that everything's working. So I would just like check things off. I would check for meetings, check all my emails, and just like wear different hats during the day. So with clients, you have meetings like all day. So working in between meetings is really important. I think something that's really important for me is just like scheduling in breaks. So working out or going for coffee with someone or a dinner break, super important. So I make sure that happens. Now, of course, now my day looks quite different. So managing a team and doing accounting and billing and invoicing and sales calls and talking to people in a mastermind that I'm in or planning things or like things just come up during the day. Like, oh, we're hiring. What do we need to offer this person? What are the trainings going to look like? And a lot of that, Katie and I divide and conquer. But of course, in every business, there's things that come up. So my day looks a little bit different now than a traditional cam, but it's really fun. I still have clients and I really enjoy that part, talking strategy and talking to clients and just feeling productive that helps my agency clients. I still really enjoy it. So yeah, that's broad, but my day is just all over the place, like probably most people listening.
Exactly. And like in this digital marketing space, there is an element of flexibility, right? And especially when we're client facing, we have to understand that some sort of situation, some issues come up and they might need immediate attention. So that's always something that client account managers are open to and ready for, which is great. So I think if we can just sum this up and speak to what is a super clear understanding of what a client account manager does, how do client account managers fit into digital marketing agencies, right? Why you need one and how we certainly help tons of people.
Yeah. So I can give my perspective. So
Sure.
to me, a client account manager is really like the glue of your agency. So, for example, you have your clients and maybe you have one, maybe you have 20, maybe you have 70, like some of our clients. The CAM role is really to be the glue. So you're representing the client, but you're also representing the agency. So if clients have questions, they're coming to the CAM. If media buyers have questions, they're coming to CAM. The CAM holds all the information. They know what's going on. They know where the project's at. They know what we're waiting on from both sides. If we have angry clients, unfortunately, it happens sometimes, we all know, the CAM is there to help massage the relationship to make sure that the client's happy. If there's issues, you bring it back to the agency owner. Now, the agency owner, in our eyes, is busy. They are growing the business, growing the brand, building strategic partnerships. Maybe they're doing some of the ad buying, maybe they're doing some of the strategy. They don't need to be and should not be dealing with clients day to day, because I think it's personal. So if you're the agency owner and a client's upset, you just take it personally. It's just natural. So if you have someone in between to filter those messages and filter that relationship, I think it's really helpful. So the CAM is there to get the agency owner out of the day to day so that they can focus on growing their business, but making sure the clients feel taken care of. They feel like as soon as they come on board with the agency, they have a dedicated person to hold their hand and to root for them and make sure everything's happening. And I think a CAM role, in terms of what we do, because we work with multiple agencies at one time, we really have to wear multiple hats, but we have to be there for our agencies whenever they need us. So we just need to be available, ensuring that all of our agencies are taken care of as well. So in a nutshell, the CAM role to me is the glue. We're there to represent the client, but we're also there to represent the agency, to project manage, to manage the team, really the internal team, whether it's full-time or contractors, and to just push clients' work forward, essentially.
And I think you did actually touch on something really awesome, is that just in terms of like keep like the business is so personal to agency owners, where that sort of streamlined communication, that really personal sort of touch that you can get through an email, that can get lost sometimes. So the CAMs that we train and hire and get to work with agencies are the experts in the communication field. They know we're thinking 5 steps ahead. We know what the client will say when this happens. We know what they're thinking when this happens. So it's the experience that we have working with agencies, but also that really great communication piece that agency owners maybe don't have time to always really get that personal touch in there. We have a great practice called the daily pulse. Hey, we're working on your account. Things are being optimized. We hope to see some early results soon. Quick little messages that really let clients know that they're supported, build that relationship, and really get them engaged for a long-term relationship.
Mm-hmm.
We have different hats, and we definitely know how to work with e-com, lead generation, digital marketing agency clients. That's our expertise. So it's helpful to know that team is supporting the agency, but also the clients.
Yeah. So I guess clearly we work with a lot of different agencies and types of clients, and we see it all. So if you, Katie, were speaking with an agency owner and they wanted to know what type of client account management role, if any, some don't need them, but if they needed a client account manager in their agency, how would you help them figure out what type of CAM they need?
Yeah. What is your pain point? What costs you the most time? How can your day get better if something was taken off your plate? So that's the main question we have for all agency owners. Is your pain point that you can't get back to clients in time? Then they get angry and then they want to stop services. Is your pain point that media buyers aren't informed? Your project management is off. We need to speak to those sort of bottlenecks within agencies to get to the perfect sort of CAM solution, right? We have different buckets, which is awesome. We have like a project management CAM who's really great at Asana and getting tasks in there. We have templates, we have all the great resources. There's traditional CAM in terms of that really strong client contact, that client relationship builder. And then there's also more on the admin side, right? There's people who just onboard and get clients onboarded and up and running and then on to the next. What we did learn is there's these different buckets. Not every agency is the same. We don't expect them to be the same. So when they come to us and they're like, we need some help, client communication is not our top priority. We need it to be our top priority. Then we just dive in and see what the bottleneck is and how we can certainly help them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Taylor, but I do feel like when agencies come to us looking for a cam, we want to dive in, see what they really need, because a lot of the time they think they might need something, but it's actually something different, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say definitely there. And I think it's important to understand that just because you have an agency doesn't always mean that you need a cam. Sometimes we'll talk to, actually a lot of times we'll talk to agency owners and we dive into their business and we're like, you know what? I really don't know that this is exactly what you need. Maybe you need an operations manager. Maybe you need something else. But for a lot of the agencies, when they do need a client account manager, there are some instances when a CAM doesn't fit or our model doesn't fit. And sometimes it's they have a very local team. If all their team is sitting in a boardroom and you're the only one sitting in, a different country and a different time zone, that doesn't always work. But maybe it's you need to just train a cam who's local to you, and that's cool, and we can help there. And sometimes agencies will come to us and the scope of what they need is just outside of what kind of we do. Maybe they need a high level funnel strategist, and that's not necessarily what a cam role looks like. Or sometimes it's personality fit. Maybe they're looking for someone totally different than who the cam role looks like for us. So I think sometimes the cam role is different for every agency. It is, but we look at every agency individually and look to see what's going on in your agency, what systems and processes do you have in place, where are the holes, and what's taking up your time as the agency owner, or maybe you're not giving your clients the attention that they need and want and should have. So I think all those questions are so relevant, but really it all comes down to what are you doing as the agency owner? Where do you want to be in terms of lifestyle? And is the investment in a client account manager worth it for you and for your clients?
Yeah, exactly. Like agencies will have different areas that they want to improve. We have different camps that have different sort of industry knowledge. So whether you're the LinkedIn pro or the YouTube pro, we have people that really facilitate the needs of the agency. So I think step one is to learn that agency, start that relationship and really dive in to see what the need is and then how to best service them. We even had people come to us with people that they have internal. They're like, listen, I have this person on my team. I know they can be a really great client account manager. I just don't have the time to train them. So who do you call? Dot and Company. So there's different ways for us to help. For sure, when a CAM comes on board, they can act as your agency. They're part of your team, all of that good stuff. But there's also different options if you have an internal person that you want to help out and become a client account manager, or maybe you just need somebody to find you a really great cam and then bring them to your agency and you can hire them internally. So I guess that kind of veered off our daily what a cam looks like, but seeing that a cam can work for your agency too.
Yeah. So I think we could literally probably go on and on all day about client account management because this is what we do. And I feel like this is our passion. We're exactly where we need to be. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with enjoying the process of account management in your own agency. So maybe you're an agency owner and you're like, I actually really like this part of my business. That's amazing. You don't have to outsource account management to be a successful, scalable agency. And most importantly, it should fit your lifestyle. So I think in a nutshell, like everything that we talked about today should give you a really good overview of what a CAM looks like in an agency when you need one and kind of what that role looks like. But we see this all day, like Katie said. So we see every agency has different parts to it. A CAM role isn't a one size fits all role in an agency. It's an adapting role. And I think it's important to see where a CAM could fit in your agency, who should take on that role. And maybe it's you, maybe it's your ad specialist, maybe it's a dedicated CAM, but the possibilities are endless.
So if we are talking about client account management and everything that works well, Taylor, what would you say would be like a red flag? What would not be helpful? I think definitely touched on it a little bit. People will come to us and we're like the only outside sort of contractor. That doesn't always work. It's not the same vibe, right? It's not the same sort of team aspect of working inside an agency. So that could be definitely a flag. Something that wouldn't work is
okay. So I would say sometimes agencies will be looking for a unicorn. and almost wanting this CAM role to be 3 different roles, like a CAM role, an operations role, a VA, like a virtual assistant, and a media buyer, and all these things all in one. That would be a red flag. I would say some agency owners are pricing their services in a way that isn't going to reflect being able to have team members working on the account. So sometimes they may think that they really want a CAM, but they can't necessarily make that investment based on like how they're pricing their clients.
There's an element of letting go for agency owners, right? Like you can't be controlling everything, but it's a trust thing, right? So Taylor and I can go on about client account management all day long. We just love it so much. And we talk about client account management like it's our job, but like really it's a passion, right? We just go on forever and ever. So we hope that you'll learn on this podcast from episode to episode how to make client experience even better for your clients. And more importantly, how to ensure your lifestyle is met in your agency, because it's just so important, and especially to us. So if we can help you grow, if that's what you want, if we can help you get on more vacations, that's what you want, then we're here for it.
And we see it all, like Katie said. So we see every agency has so many different parts. A CAM isn't a one size fits all. It's adapting, it's changing, but it's important to see where a CAM can fit in your agency. So whether it's you, whether it's your ad specialist, whether it's a strictly client role, there's so many possibilities. Just be open-minded as you go through all of these episodes and learn what a CAM looks like.
If you're curious about who makes the best client account manager, tune into our next episode where we'll detail the traits of a client account manager. And then drop by our website for sure to get our onboarding checklist, which is super helpful when you're trying to get those clients onboarded really quickly. It's www.dotandcompany.co/checklist. So we'll drop this in the notes, but make sure you check that out. We're excited to share more juicy details with you about client account management and really speak to this new piece of the digital marketing world.
So thanks for listening in. If you enjoyed this episode or got even a tiny little bit of wisdom, please share this on your social media, send it to a friend, and we'd love if you rate and subscribe on our podcast. Until next time, cheers to happy clients.